Good morning, mummies, dads. Good morning, mummies and daddies, uncles and aunties in the audience today. Today, the youth have come together to create a panel discussion that's relevant to us today. The topic for our discussion today is how social media affects teenagers and their everyday lives. My name is Chuendu, and I'm aspiring for a career in law, and the rest of us will also introduce ourselves.
My name is Time. I'm still a student and I aspire to get a job associated with law or be a professional basketball player.
Good morning, church. My name is Lee. I'm still a student in year 11. I'm currently taking my GCSEs and I want to do a job associated with crime.
Good morning, church. My name is Naomi. I'm still a student and I'd like to be a photographer of my role.
My name is Kito and I'm still at school and I'm going on university in my role. My name is Somto. I'm still studying and I want to do a science technology based job.
Thank you all so much for telling us a bit about yourselves. Now we're going to go around and figure out what social media platforms the youth over here use and how it affects them in their everyday lives. So if we could start with Naomi, what social media platforms do you typically use and how does it affect you?
I typically use Instagram, and I think in a positive way, it can affect people. People can showcase their talents and their hobbies. And in a negative way, I think that it can have a negative impact on children's minds and it can influence them the wrong way.
So you mentioned how it has an influence on children's minds, which can also be positive or negative as well. Is there any advice that you would give that would help children focus more on the positive parts of social media rather than negative?
I think that they should be careful what they're doing online, and that they shouldn't be online too much.
Okay, we'll come back to you for that one. Next, I want to go to Vigil. So can you tell us what social media platforms you typically use and how it affects you in your everyday life?
So typically I use TikTok. TikTok has some negative and positive sides to it. I wrote down some positive sides. Some positive points are it's creative and it can help you express your ideas and online and to reach like a wide audience. It also allows you to like connect with other people around the world, find what stuff you guys have similar with each other, what's different. However, some negatives are it can be time consuming. People can doom scroll on it and not know how much time that's actually spending on the app. It can also affect someone's mental health, because they can find it hard to balance their social life and the actual education, so they may spend too much time online.
Just for our adults out there, doom scrolling is when someone sits on their phone for hours on end, not realizing that the time is passing them by, and they just continuously scroll on their phone, which is what Time has said to us. What P has said to us all today. And you mentioned how it could be very damaging as well to the youth of today to doom scroll. So is there any advice that you would give to the teenagers or the little kids that will eventually end up on social media as well, how they can control that doom scrolling effect?
I would say having a time limit of how much time you're spending on each social media. I think using over an hour can expose your mind to stuff you don't have to see online.
Okay, thank you very much for that. We'll come back to you for that one. Somto, can you tell us what social media platforms you use and how you use them, please?
I use Instagram because I use Instagram has a positive and negative side of it. The positive side of Instagram is it's a forward-globing connection and creates self-expression, which provide a platform for learning, community support. That's the positive side of it because it helps people connect around the world, like making new friends and getting to know each other.
Thank you very much. So you mentioned how we can connect. Okay. We mentioned how it's easy for people to connect online. Can you tell us more about that community and that environment that people typically find on social media platforms such as Instagram?
Because some people find it difficult to find friends in the real world. So people might go to Instagram to go like to search for friends, like have similar tastes than them.
I can definitely hear where you're coming from, because a lot of children or teenagers today may not find a community that they feel they are included within in real life, and online is very easy to find new people, new platforms and such, and make that community for yourself. But again, I think we all agree over here that there's also dangers to finding a community online when you don't really know the person behind the screen. So is there like any advice that you try to give to people who are like looking for community but how to do it safely?
Yeah, one is to make sure your parents are there and supervise what you're doing online, and not to go to any suspicious sites. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We'll come back to that. Now time for time. What's it called? Time. What social media platforms do you typically use, and how does it affect you in your everyday life?
So I typically use Snapchat because it's an easy way to stay connected with your friends, and it has fun filters and lenses. You can post a lot, and there's a lot of things to explore while using Snapchat. There is some downsides to it, which is like a lot of people tend to post too much on Snapchat and they tend to overshare. So I think limiting your postage on Snap would be effective for teenagers like us who use Snapchat a lot.
And just to clarify for, again, the adults in the room, Snapchat, when you post something on your story, you can either private it for a certain select of people that you can choose to be on that private story, or it would be public for anyone and everyone to see if they just search up your name on Snapchat. So, Time, you mentioned how we should be more restrictive on that, which is very good as well. Is there any more precautions that you think people should be taking when they're on platforms like Snapchat?
So I think parents should openly talk to their children about how to manage their social media apps. Don't spend too much time on certain social medias, because you need to balance your education and your social media. You can't spend 1 hour reading and 2 hours on social media, so keep it balanced and make sure you talk to your parents about how much time you should be spending on each and every of your social medias.
I really like that point that you made there, because parents can't be there 24/7 to watch what their child is doing on the phone. So that constant communication between the child and the parent to explain what they're doing on social media, how they should navigate their ways on social media, I think that's a